Recording
All
right
right.
now. Go ahead.
All right. Let's go. Tonight. Welcome to another FBA Insiders webinar. I'm your host, John Paul Jones, and hope everybody can hear me. If you can hear me good, put a 1 in the comments real quick. We'll make sure everybody's hearing us good. All right, Sue can hear us. Hopefully somebody other than Sue can. All right, Deb, that sounds good.
Yes, we're good to go.
Okay, I think we're good. All right. So tonight we're going to be talking about online arbitrage. We'll be discussing how to operate, automate, and organize your online arbitrage business. My guests tonight are Paul Saucier, that I think was just attacked by a lamp or something there.
I was. I'm in a hotel room. I was putting a pillow on my lap so you didn't get the bottom view.
That's okay. Paul Saucier and his buddy Santosh here. And guys, I'm going to give yourself a quick introduction to everybody.
Yeah.
Paul, you want to go first?
Yes. Yeah. So as John Paul said, my name is Paul Saucier. I have been selling on Amazon for about 4 years now. And currently I'm actually at a trade show, which is why I just got attacked by a lamp because I'm in a hotel room. But I do a variety of things. I practice wholesale, I do online arbitrage, and I do retail arbitrage. Just this past Q4, I ran a Q4 group where I was sharing deals. We were doing 200 deals a month, me and a team of other expert Amazon sellers. And everybody said, hey, what are we going to do in Q1? And I said, well, I don't know. So Santosh and I met up, and I'll let him introduce himself and not steal his thunder. But we met up and decided, hey, why don't we do a Q1 group? Because all of us after Q4 are just going, all right, I just made a bunch of money. Now what do I do? Where do I dump my capital? How do I keep replenishing? How do I keep finding inventory? Maybe you're doing retail arbitrage and you want to stay home, or maybe you're doing wholesale and you're looking to diversify your inventory or whatever it is. So we decided to link up, and the phrase that I like to say is give away fish and teach you how to fish. So we're going to explain what we mean by all of that, and I'm going to let Santosh take it away, and we're going to give you some great little nuggets on doing online arbitrage and how that will benefit your overarching Amazon business. So go ahead, Santosh.
Hi everyone, my name is Santosh. I'm an Amazon seller. I'm based out of Maryland. I've been selling for a little bit over 2 years now. And after trying a lot of different Amazon models, I came in, there's so much to learn, and you kind of eventually find your way around a model that works for you. And for me, it was online arbitrage. And I would say grew that up. I built a team of VA that automated some of that. And along the way, I built my own software called Azon Tracker Pro to help me automate some of the organizational aspects of online arbitrage. And today we're together, me and Paul, just going to be sharing a little bit about how that could be an easy model to add to your existing Amazon business, how you can use it to scale. And if you're already, depending on whatever sort of model that you're using, how online arbitrage can be easily fitted into that. And with the right systems, how you can really expand your Amazon business with online arbitrage. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. Give me one quick second while I do that, and we'll get started. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
I can.
All right, awesome.
Looks good.
Great. So the first thing is, why online arbitrage, and what do we like? What do we like about this model? I know that Paul's talking about where he's right now at a trade show in wholesale, and it's I think eventually OA and wholesale are pretty much very similar. If you have the right systems in place, it's very easy to kind of put them all together. For anyone coming from an RA perspective, I think OA is again another model to easily add in, because you can bring in some of the knowledge that you already have with your RA into online arbitrage. The most best benefit of OA is to be able to source from anywhere at any time. Even when you're doing wholesale, sometimes it might involve you going to a trade show, or trying to meet in person, or building the relationship, which is also a good way to scale. The online arbitrage, you could pretty much do it from anywhere at any point of time. You're not restricted by time in any way, because you can source in the morning, in the night. Most websites allow you to purchase any point of the day. So it's pretty easy to do that. You could start to add your OA business into your existing model very quickly. There's a lot of more data and tools available while doing OA to make better decisions. I know if you're working from RA, and I've done, when I got started out with my Amazon career, I was also doing some RA, and I do that still doing Q4. And one of the things is that there's only so much of data you can really look at when you're doing RA. You have a scanner. You might scan the barcode on the scanning app, depending on which app you use, and you just look at the rank, maybe the number of sellers, and make a decision. Whereas with OA, there's a lot of more data points and a lot of tools available that can help you make better buying decisions, which is pretty nice, because especially with OA, since there's a lot more tools out there, you can kind of find your way around them, learn them as you go along, and start to improve on your workflow. Potential scalability can be huge because there are thousands and thousands of websites, so there's no shortage of stores that you can buy from. And every website has their own special deals, coupons, and different things. So if you have the right systems to kind of keep track of all those factors, you can easily scale away with the right team and processes in place. And what do I mean by right team and processes? Again, everybody has a limited amount of hours and time in a day. So maybe you're right now working on maybe you're building your business by yourself. And then as you want to expand and grow, you want to hire someone maybe to help you keep track of your online arbitrage orders, or maybe create your shipments, or there are different processes that you can have someone help you do. And we're going to explain how, with the right VA system or virtual systems, you can do some of or even all of that for automation of your model. With OA, you have the potential to outsource your prep and packaging. If you're doing RA, most of the time, you might find that you're going to be having to bring the products to your own home, or perhaps a warehouse, and prepping and packaging is more of an in-house kind of thing. But with OA, you can actually have products shipped to a prep center and have products packaged and sent to Amazon without you even touching the products. So, which I think is pretty nice, because you don't have to worry about your home or being loaded up with a lot of different products and things like that. Often you send their products to a sales tax free state, which again could be a big money and time savings, because the tax that you save could actually help you pay for the cost of prepping, because depending on which state you're located on, sales tax can be a pretty significant part of your costs. So you can help to, and I'm not talking about sales tax that you're going to have to pay to your state, as far as some of the new things that are coming up on Amazon, where you have to file sales tax. But the sales tax you pay when you're buying merchandise. So if you're usually located in a state that charges you sales tax for products, when you buy them, you'll usually get added to your cost of purchasing. And there are ways for you to get refunds and things like that. But this is a way that you can kind of use prep centers and get some of that money back.
There's also, in addition to that, jump in here, in addition to the sales tax free states, the larger big box stores that you can get tax exempt at, you can also get tax exempt, like Walmart.com, for example. They actually have a form online that you can fill out. If you get tax exempt in store, that's one thing. Tax exempt online is another. So you can get tax exempt at Walmart.com, but not Target.com. You ask that, they're going to say, what's your name? Yeah, you're banned from our website. So don't ask Target.com if you can do that. But again, to kind of overarchingly get rid of tax, you can just look up, just Google sales tax free states. And then there's also lists of prep centers that they'll advertise, hey, we are a tax free state. We could ship it to them. So good stuff. Keep going, Bob. Wanted to jump in.
And yeah, sure. And there's besides Walmart, many other stores actually have that program too. I know Office Depot has that. So depending on where you're trying to source from in your model, many stores that usually have a sort of a system where the people like Walmart, they a lot of people, contractors buy stuff, and a lot of stores that are open to resellers, and you have to kind of go into the website and find them or look for a store that says sales tax. They have a workflow where you're gonna upload your business license and get that. And I think it's something that any seller, even if you're trying to do RA, there are many website stores that allow you to be able to purchase with your sales tax free exempt certificate. and it's something that you can look into. Um, and as along the way, as you're beginning to do this, you'll notice with OA, you can start to hire and train a VA team that allows for semi-automation of this model. What do I mean by that? Is that, I mean, if you're mostly in RA, sometimes the way to scale is to have more shoppers. The same thing with OA, there's only 24 hours in a day, and maybe at some point you might be the one to maybe purchase and spend all the time to put all the information on a Go spreadsheet. But as you go along and then make sure you create your shipments, you can start to find it or build a team that can help you do some of these things. And that can be a huge way to scale. And we're going to discuss more about some of the things that you can outsource, and that'll help you do that. And along the way, you'll find that there are other ways that you can add OA and increase your ROI that is not available maybe sometimes in RA. It could be where you could stack coupons, just to add cashback and discount cards to increase your ROI. What do I mean by that? For example, many websites might have a coupon that you could use on their website to buy. But when you're going actually to buy the products on the website, you could actually use a cashback site. For example, if you're buying something from maybe Best Buy, so you might have a 10% Best Buy discount coupon, but you also might have a cashback when you go from a cashback website like maybe Ebates or a Top Cashback, you might get 5% cashback. Then additionally, you could go to stores like Raise or gift card, the Card Bear or Gift Card Nanny, and find discounted gift cards. So you can where you would be only paying $90 for a $100 gift card, and technically adds another 10%. So if you add all and stack all these things, you could technically have a 10 plus another 5 and another 10%. It's not cumulatively 25%, but you're just stacking them up to maybe get an average ROI of an additional ROI that could be another 10 or 15% more than just one particular coupon.
Yep.
And this, I think, is a big part of OA, that especially if as you begin to scale, or even when you're very new, if you start doing this, you'll find that right from day one, you'll have a much better ROI. And I recommend anyone to kind of start looking into doing that very early in their OA business career. Additionally, go ahead, Paul.
Really quick, as far as like discounted gift cards go. So typically online, you're gonna get a lot more discounts than you will in stores. So like he's mentioning cashback. A lot of times there's online specials, so like only online promo codes or coupons. Discounted gift cards you can use in store and online. At one point, just to give you an example, if you're not used to discounted gift cards, I used to source a lot at Marshall's, and John Paul, you probably remember this. There was a season where they were 20% off. Were you buying them then?
Yeah, they had Target and not Target, TJ Maxx,
Marshalls,
and all those stores. You could get those for those things.
Yeah, so 20% off. So I would walk in and I would use John Paul's got a scanning app that you might know about called Scan Genie. I'll throw my 20% off in there, and the amount of inventory now available to reach that minimum ROI, if it's 50% or 60%, just, taking that additional 20% off the cost right off the top, I mean, it just opens you up and it makes you so much more competitive than if you didn't have that. You might be scanning things in store or online and going, man, how is anybody making any money on these products? And more than likely, they're using discounted gift cards, cashback, and coupons. So it's almost, I would say nowadays, a requirement, would you say, Santosh, to really not just increase your ROI, but really just to stay with everyone and to keep, to keep that edge.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, for example, you might see if there are 3 sellers on a product, and often you're on Amazon. However, if you're able to buy your product at a much lower price, you're already ahead of the game. And like sometimes, as you get Amazon, you make your money at the time you buy. So if you're buying it at a low, Amazon, the model itself is buy low, and sell high. So the lower you can kind of get your price in, the better. And with OA, you have the opportunity to do that because you have 3 or 4 levels of ways you can stack up with all these things, which is a little bit, you can still do that in the store. Like, for example, with the discounted gift cards. But I don't find it's harder to do all 3 or 4 at the same time.
A lot of times in stores, they're not going to allow you to stack. It just, again, depends a lot on the store. Great example. Walgreens. Walgreens used to be able to go in and just slam your points all on one purchase. Well, now they cut that back. Now it's only $5 per checkout that you can do. So, while there's waves to ride those waves. If you know something about a discounted gift card or a cash back site or a coupon, something like that, like ride that wave, because you never know when they're going to take it away. If the store's going to stop that.
And another tip right there, for example, which we do in our business all the time, is like we use Ebates. Now, Ebates usually you can get 1% or 2%, depending on the store. But I buy a discounted gift cards from Raise, and I go to Raise using Ebates. So I get a 1% discount to buy a discounted gift card from Raise using Ebates. Now, if you have an Ebates credit card, which is issued by Ebates, then you get a 3% discount on any purchase that you make on Ebates with the Ebates credit card. So technically, I can get a 1 + 3 from Ebates, and then I get a discounted gift card from Raise. So I'm buying maybe something from Best Buy, and I get a 10% discount. I get a 10% discount there. Then I go back with that discounted gift card that I bought on Raise and use cash when I'm actually going to buy the product from perhaps Best Buy. I might get another 5% at the time of purchase from Best Buy. And then if there's a coupon, then again, I use that coupon as well. So you can see how many times you can actually get the benefit of that one single purchase. And probably along the line, if you kind of calculate, you might have actually got 4 levels of discounts. So that's just one way you can help use some of those things to stack up.
And it doesn't. Go ahead.
How are y'all keeping up with those gift cards? Because I know when we were using those, 20% off, in-store gift cards, that was a bit of a pain. And, now that the percentage off is not really that much, it's not usually worth the trouble. But I was curious, how you keeping up with those?
So usually with OA, here's the way we kind of do it. Like, for example, by the time usually we try to buy, we don't buy because we're not going to store ahead. Like you're trying to do in live, right? So let's say you saw a deal when you like something on maybe Best Buy, okay? And you're going to buy this particular, I know most people are not doing laptops, but I'm just saying, for example, so it's going to cost you $200. So you can, right there, you go on, at that moment, you go to your raise.com and maybe check if the Best Buy gift card, and maybe there's a card for maybe $200 or even $195. I try to go a little bit lower than the actual card value because I want to always use my credit card plus the gift card. So if it's like a $200 purchase, I might look for 1 or 2 cards that will get me to $190, and then the last $10 I use my credit card, so that way it all tracks to. And anytime these most of these websites, they have some sort of fraud departments. So as long as you sort of have a credit card that matches with your address and all that, it kind of goes through. So I usually try. And then because I'm not really holding too much balance, because I'm kind of using all of that up in that particular transaction, I don't have to worry too much about keeping up with all the balances. As compared to when you go to a store, you might go with $1,000 gift card for Marshalls, but you might not purchase for $1,000 because you maybe didn't find all the products that meet your criteria.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because we were buying, several $1,000, cards at one time, and then having to keep up with which ones, been used up, all that kind of stuff. And we had some stuff to help with that, but it was still kind of a pain.
Yeah. And then we also, the software that we have that I built with Azon Tracker Pro, because it pushes data straight from any browser over into a Google spreadsheet, we actually include some of that information. So if there's any balance left, we have a column in our Google spreadsheet that we say this card has got so much balance, and it kind of goes to a Google spreadsheet. So it helps us keep track of that.
Let me
as well
clarify something. Santosh just mentioned something like he was taking a walk in a park. These Google spreadsheets that he deals with, and Azon Tracker Pro, which is something you probably haven't heard of yet, but it's starting to gain some traction there, is a tool that Santosh made. In our group, we talk a lot about it. I just recently started using it. So just to let y'all know, John Paul and Santosh, they're both like, I'm not going to use the word geek, but I might use the word geek. Joking.
There's nothing wrong with the word geek, man. Go with it.
They're both wizards with Google Sheets and Excel. I myself am not. So, yeah, and you might be a little bit like me, but at any rate, when it comes to organization, outsourcing things, using virtual assistants, things like that, Azon Tracker Pro is a phenomenal tool. Maybe you've done online arbitrage before, or maybe you've done just any type of Amazon research, and you're going, like, I just want to copy paste, these data points into a spreadsheet. What Azon Tracker Pro does is it pushes everything into a spreadsheet. So that data on the website or the data on Amazon, it literally, you press a button and it pushes it over. So we're, just that tool alone, that actually comes free with our group here, but that we'll talk about in a minute. But at any rate, it, Santosh, you just mentioned, you were like, yeah, I just got the spreadsheet. I was like, wait a second. So
Yeah,
just
but
in case
that's how we can. Yeah, that's how we can do that. If we do end up having a balance, just to answer John's Paul's question, we usually just put the data and push it to our Google Sheet saying we have a balance on there. So then the next time when we come around, we know to remember to use that.
Yeah.
So again, as we start building your OA business, you'll start to notice one thing that you can start doing, and it kind of builds up. And like with RA, you could always go back to Marshall and buy the same product, but sometimes it might not always be there. But with OA, one of the things I like to see is that you can actually start building your replan list. So often as you begin to start doing OA, you'll find products that, I'm not talking about just clearance store products or stored products that are sort of on clearance sale, but many times there are websites where consistently you might be buying something for $9.99, whereas on Amazon it might be selling for $40 or $50. There's no reason. It's just that particular website that's their cost, so that's how much they're selling it for. And because of the demand and supply, on Amazon is selling for a much higher price. And if you find such a product, that can become one of your replans. So what do I mean by replan? It's something that you buy 10 units, you ship it to Amazon, it gets sold, then you go back and buy 10 more. So it's almost like doing wholesale, like a mini wholesale, and that's one thing that I really like about OA is that as you start to grow your business, you're gonna start finding a lot of products like this can eventually go on to become your replans. I know, Paul, you have a couple of replans as well that has really helped with your business, right? You were mentioning earlier.
Yeah, I've got a few sites that outside of wholesale, we do have a few online arbitrage sites that we do love to. We just keep going back and back and back and find those everyday products and again ride that wave. You never know how long it's going to take. One thing that I'll mention though about that is the replens that I have. And I would say more than likely the replens that anybody has, for the most part, is they have them because they dug for them. You think about like going, I don't know why this analogy just came to my head, going on a beach with a metal detector. They've got the guy that might be like, if I don't find anything in about 10 feet, I'm done. But then they've got the guy that's like, I'm hiking this beach until I find something. Those are the guys that find the gold, right? So it's, Santosh mentioned earlier, going the extra mile. When you go that extra mile, you might find that replan. That replan might stick around for 1, 2, 3 years. You just don't know because it was hard to find for whatever reason. The UPC didn't match. The picture maybe would have been messed up and you had to correct the picture, or the brand name was wrong and you had to correct the brand. Whatever it is. That allows you to find those things, or maybe you made your own bundle. Those replens, they stick around for quite some time. And just to give you another example, I was at a trade show. Typically products have cycles, especially toys. Normally toys, there's the craze, kind of like slime right now. It's a huge craze. There's a craze and then it dies. With some toys, or some products stick around. Their life cycle never ends. You think about like Pac-Man or Galaga. Everybody loves Pac-Man and Galaga. It doesn't have a life cycle. It just sticks around. So when you find those products that don't have those life cycles, man, they're gold. So again, to my point though, you have to dig. You have to work. Anything that is handed to you on a silver platter typically gets consumed very quickly. I don't know if John Paul and Santosh don't want to attest to any of that, your experiences with that kind of stuff. But And I know I just went on a super long tangent. So sorry.
But just coming back to bringing it back in is like just going the extra mile. I mean, whether when you're doing starting to do OA, it is a simple model. It's an easy model, but there are so many ways that you can kind of differentiate yourself. Manual sourcing can sometimes be a lot of people now with softwares like TA and other ones out there. It's become very easy to find products. But maybe you go the extra mile to maybe find a different store website that is not any of these softwares, and you do manual sourcing, or you organize your workflow so much better that maybe one OS seller probably can only run 3 websites, but you kind of set up a team in a workflow where you're able to run 10 or 15 websites by hiring a team or whatever you got to do to set up the system that can then give you that extra edge. So I think once you get started in OA, you first find your way, get your stride in. But as you go in, when you start to go the extra mile, you'll find that you'll find a lot more nuggets along the way.
Absolutely. Hey, Santosh, I just want to let you know we spent a lot of time on that slide. So we might want to expedite these next few ones.
Okay, sure. So something just to keep you in mind when you do get into online arbitrage, some of the things like you're going to face, it's very similar to whether you're doing RA or anything else. There are brand restrictions. As you begin to start sourcing, you might come across those products. The only good benefit that I like is that perhaps rather than you go to a store when you're very new, or even depending on how long you've been in the Amazon business, if you're gated, at least you don't go into a store for 4 hours and come back with only like 5 products. With OA, you can set up a lot of different things as far as the websites and stores that you'll be less frustrating, especially if you're a newer seller, to help you kind of get past that point where you can at least start focusing on those brands or those stores that can quickly help you find profitable products. But do keep in mind with OA, one or two things that you have to keep in mind is how you manage your workflow, because your products could come in damaged, or there could be lost inventory, or sometimes you might have incorrect inventory. So just set up your workflow in a way that you're able to track all of that, and make sure that if you have some of those situations, you're able to send that shipment back or send the product back and kind of make sure you get your money back in time.
Good stuff.
What do you need to succeed with OA? Mindset, I think, is a big part of this. With OA is that some of the things that you come in with the expectation. For example, I know cash flow is sometimes an important thing when you're doing online arbitrage. But from the time you place your order to you getting the order to Amazon is slightly longer, because the shipment by the time the order comes in might be 3 to 5 days, and then another 2 or 3 days to kind of get it shipped to Amazon and checked in. So just kind of keep that mindset of in terms of your cash flow planning, and also understand that some of the pros and cons of this model is that because it's simpler and easier, that there could be situations where more sellers can come in onto the product. So just, as long as you buy it at the right price, you might need to hold it a little longer for it to sell. And then understanding the different tools of OA. Online arbitrage has got a lot of different tools, so it's easy to kind of get overwhelmed when you're very new to it. So if you've already been an Amazon seller for a while, at least you kind of already know what rank means and different things, BSR and things like that. Start with some of the tools you already know. Add them one at a time. If you just want to get yourself initially organized into a goal sheet, you can do that. Maybe add a few tools and slowly over a period of time kind of grow your business. Amazon is constantly changing, and just like Amazon changing, we just need to evolve and adapt to whatever is happening in the business. But when you have good processes and a good team and systems in place, I feel that you can really easily succeed with OA. And once you have a good setup in place, it's not that hard to just outsource most of the stuff. You just set up the processes, teach your staff or VA or a team of VAs to help you, and you can find that you'll be able to scale much faster.
Really quick too, when you might be hearing these words systems and VAs and things that you're going, man, I'm not a systems guy, or I'm not, I'm just a one-man show and I've got $5,000 to invest or 500 to invest. That build the system, you want to start working now on your system, even if you don't plan on hiring a virtual assistant for a year or 2 years or however long. So you want to start working on that now, because you might already be experiencing this. Things get out of hand really fast. You make 5 purchases or 10 online purchases in a day. They're heading to a prep center, or they're heading to you. You get damaged stuff. They get lost on the way to Amazon. Amazon loses it once they receive it, so on and so forth. If you don't have those systems in place, it can really come back and bite you. So We talk about scaling up and growing. Again, wherever you're at, if you have $500 or $5,000 or $50,000, you still want to have those systems in place. And if you don't know what those systems are, really it's taking what are you currently doing, write that down. And if you see inefficiencies in that, improve those. Again, like Azon Tracker Pro, you can push data instead of copy paste. That's going to save you time. If you don't have a repricer, you definitely want to get one. If you, aren't using certain tools that like tactical arbitrage, that can drastically improve how fast you can source product. So again, there's a lot of different things out there that can enhance your business really overnight. I would say so, and that's what Santosh is talking about, where once you have those systems in place, that's when you can really just crank out a lot of research, a lot of product quickly. So go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. And then again, just coming back, when I mean systems, sometimes it's as simple as like what I would do when I was very new. I started out like, okay, when I place an order, I would put something onto a spreadsheet. And then when I started doing that a couple of times, I just made a small video of how to do that and pass it on to my VA, saying, okay, whenever I place an order, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. Or, back then, before we had the software, I would say just go into my email, look for the products that I bought, and I want you to put that in a spreadsheet. So that was one system. So initially, I was spending so much time just trying to copy paste stuff spreadsheet just to keep track, because you could spend maybe place 10 orders today, and even if it wasn't for Amazon, when you buy our stuff for your home or for gifts for doing Q4, when you get 20 boxes and you don't know what you got, where you got it from, it can kind of become very hard. So step by step, just create some small steps that can make your whole business a lot more easier, and then you can kind of document that and go from there. But yeah, when I mean systems, I want to make sure people understand it's just a matter of just maybe putting down and making a small video of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis and sharing it with your team. That's the online sourcing. We already covered a couple of them during our first few slides, but pretty much online sourcing comes to 3 different ways of doing it. You're doing manual sourcing, which is you go to a website, perhaps like maybe you're on bestbuy.com or target.com, and maybe you find a product, you copy the name, you put it on Amazon, you check if it's how much it's selling for. That's called manual sourcing. Then you have software sourcing, which is software like tactical arbitrage, which actually scrape the software, where instead of you having to go on to Walmart and finding a product and then checking the price on Amazon, the software actually does it for you. So what you would normally do is you would just click on a button you put your rank and criteria of what you were looking for, like profit, margin, ROI, and then the software like Tactical would go in and scrape all the data from Amazon and then all the data from Walmart for that specific category. Maybe you like to buy shoes or clothing, and it's going to grab all that, check the calculations, and then show you a list of possible matches. And then you have to kind of go further and make sure it's a good fit for you, and then make a purchase. The third thing is buying lists, which is basically where there are a lot of firms or companies out there, other Amazon sellers that perhaps might be selling a list of leads. So what that helps you do is perhaps if you're very new and you're not ready to hire a bunch of VAs, maybe you can start with just getting some leads that maybe you're doing your own sourcing, and then you add this to that, where you get a bunch of leads, and that can kind of put you in the right track of what kind of websites to look for, or what kind of products to buy, or what kind of ranks, and so on and so forth. So using a combination of these 3 methods can help you scale away pretty quickly.
Absolutely. And I'll say too, like I mentioned earlier about the replens, all of my replens for the most part are from manual sourcing. So my favorite way of sourcing is a buying list. So I get a list of 10 or 15 or 20 products, and then use that list to manually source or software source if you want. You use tactical arbitrage or OA X-ray, but that's really my favorite way. And just a quick tip: if you buy lists, do your best to not buy directly off the list. If you haven't experienced it yet, you will. If you buy something right off the list, and the list went to 50 people, and you send it in, and down the price goes. It goes from 10 sellers to 30, 40 sellers overnight, and then that price just tanks. And so just be really wary. Not that lists can't be helpful, but I personally love lists. But again, buying directly off the list, be very, very conservative when doing that, and then take it to okay, well, if this product does well that came on the list, what similar products will also do well? So that's honestly one of my favorite ways of sourcing. And that's with wholesale, online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, any type of tips and leads that I get, that's what I do. So keep on keeping
Awesome.
it ready. John Paul, you want to add anything to any of that? You good?
I'm good. Hey, y'all know way more about OA than I do, so yeah, y'all are the masters.
All right, keep it
So I'm
going.
just going to bring it all together for you as far as what do you really need. The one big takeaway for you when you're getting started OA is just have this funnel in your mind, okay? We talked about OA leads, and this kind of explains overall when you're starting to get into OA, what kind of process do you need to play? Or you could be the one person. I mean, we talked about of hiring a VA, but maybe you're going to be the one person right now doing all of this. But what does OA really require you to do? First step, getting leads, whether you're doing it as manual or software, or you're hiring a VA or getting it from a list. The more number of leads you have coming into your funnel, the more you can purchase. Sometimes when you have leads coming from different sources, some of the leads might not meet your criteria. You might have, maybe it comes from a software. Tactical might give you 10, 20 products, but only 3 of them might, even after you check all of them, 3 might meet your criteria in terms of keep our graphs and keep our charts and things like that. Or you hire a VA, they might give you 20 leads, out of which 3 might not be so good, or maybe 7 might be good. So the more number of leads you have, the increases the amount you can buy. The next thing is, the step is reviewing or having a reviewer. Ideally, it might be you when you're initially getting started, who kind of does this analysis. Like when you're getting a list of, let's say, 20 leads for the day, how many of them are high quality leads that you can actually say confidently, hey, if I buy this today, I know the graph shows me that there's at least 10 sales per month, and I'm sure I can there are only 3 sellers, so at least I should get the buy box 1 time out of the 4 times. So then that kind of is the role of the reviewing person who's going to review the OA. Next is purchasing. Purchase, again, one of those things where I know in my case, I have sort of almost everything that in this funnel has been outsourced for me. The only part that I kind of do in my business now is the repricer. But besides that, I've pretty much outsourced everything to my team of staff. Most of them are virtual assistants and international. But you could either be the purchaser, or you could even have, if you've done the first and second step really well, you could have a family member be a purchaser, where all they would do is you give them the final set of leads, which they can just go in, put it in the cart, check out, put the credit card, and have it shipped to your home or prep center. The next step is the order tracker and the shipment creator. Now you've placed all these orders. What are you going to do? Ideally, you want to put this somewhere on a spreadsheet or some sort of a system where you're tracking them to make sure that the store that sends them is sending them on time. Sometimes the stores run out of products. They need you ordered 4, but you only got 2 of them. Sometimes the shipments get delayed. So you want to have some sort of process in place to help you track all your online orders. And once you get them to a certain point, unlike with RA, where you go and you purchase maybe 50 items, and you can take it to Amazon, take it back home and prep it and send it to Amazon next day. With OA, it kind of comes in staggering amounts. Maybe you found more leads today and you purchased 10 items. And then so they come in on 3 might come in on a Monday and 2 might come in on a Tuesday. So they kind of come in staggering amounts. So you want to have some sort of system to help track that. And then the next final thing is prep service. Whether you could be your in-house prep, or maybe it's an outsourced prep center. So just have your process in place so that they can mark items. So when you're getting them in, it's marked incorrectly as received, and then you mark them as when they're ready to get shipment to be created. And then again, once you're done there, adding them into your repricer and so on and so forth. I think the slide kind of goes, I don't know if you can see the last one, but then finally from prep service, it goes to Amazon. So when you have all these 5 steps set up correctly, that's how you grow your online arbitrage business.
So really quick, Santosh, you said something in there that may have freaked people out. You actually give your credit card to a virtual assistant and let them purchase for you?
Yeah, we use some software extensions that help us do that. I use an extension called LastPass, where you can set it up so that the person buying it doesn't have full access to all the information. There's something called form fill that the software kind of fills it in for you. So there are some tools that will help you securely do that. And then I have credit cards. I only have 1 card or 1 or 2 cards, and then I get like text message every time the card is being use, so that way I know that it's been charged for. And then again, we track all of this. Like I'm very much, focused on tracking. So everything gets tracked to a Google spreadsheet. So the moment I know every day how much was purchased, what was purchased on the card, what card was used. So to that level, we have kind of set up a system where it's a lot more easier for me to be able to trust my team. And after a while, you hire someone who's might initially be helping you with your leads. You find they're good, then you move them on to maybe being your reviewer, and then eventually they can become your purchaser. But yes, I do have someone help me with all 3 steps.
And I knew the answer to that question, by the way, when I asked that. But I was just not rhetorically, but just asking that because I think that does freak a lot of people out. It's like, man, I've got a retail arbitrage team that they go out and they spend my money. So it's like, okay, well, you need to have ways to reconcile. If you're letting somebody use your money, one, that you trust that they're buying something that's good, right? You don't want them to just be spending their money on products that aren't good. So you need to be watching what they're buying. Are they buying good stuff? Are they staying within your parameters? So on and so forth. And then obviously trust is a huge factor there. But I love that, Santosh, that you spoke about that, because I think it should, hopefully open up your eyes to be like, oh my goodness, I could actually safely give out this information. Nothing's 100%, right? Like technically people can do things. I mean, credit cards get hacked all the time here in America, even if you think you're using it securely all the time. But my point is that you can create systems where there's checks and balances in place, and that you can safely operate for the most part, automated online arbitrage business model. And I would say, Santosh, I don't think you mentioned this yet, about how, really to fully automate it would be quite difficult, but 80-90% isn't unattainable, would you say?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there are times when I'm traveling and my team pretty much does everything. Like I said, the only where and even my repricer, my team actually uploads it. We have formulas set up in place where they know what to do. They'll put my min and max, and then I just go back in and kind of make sure everything is done. But I like we're as Amazon sellers, it's good for us to know what's happening. So maybe there are 2 I'm traveling and I might not really look at my business, but the third I go back in and take a look, because you want your team to know that as business owner that that there's still someone is looking behind them. So that's just the mindset.
So, hey guys, Minnie was asking, what does the reviewer do in this funnel? What's the reviewer's part?
The reviewer's part is when you're getting a lot of leads from different sources. The lead quality, for example, you might have a VA and you've trained this VA to kind of give you all X number of leads that meet these criteria. But when you the reviewer, for example, let's say in a keeper graph, right? Sometimes the product there were 4 sellers and they were selling for maybe $50, and now suddenly the 3 sellers got sold out, and this one seller might have not had the reprices set up correctly, and it went to a max price of $100. Now the product in itself, no one might buy it for $100. But your VA might just go ahead and send you that lead because that particular product meets the criteria. But your reviewer is sort of someone who's slightly more advanced in maybe looking at keeper graphs or analyzing the product a little bit more deeper to take those leads that are coming in and make sure the final what's being purchased is of a much higher quality. And the reviewer and the purchaser can sometimes be the same person. But for example, it's like if you wanted to maybe not hand over, and the reason I separated that is sometimes I had a friend of mine who had a reviewer who did everything, but he had the purchasing being made by his mom, who was not an Amazon seller. All she was doing is maybe putting things in her cart and checking them out. So technically, a reviewer could be the same person as your purchaser, but it's a higher level person who has a little bit more skills in reading keeper graphs and analyzing Amazon products to make sure that what's being purchased meets all the different criteria.
Okay, just because an additional question to that, what's in your experience, what's your typical reject rate between your leads that you get and what comes out of the reviewer?
Again, it depends on the kind of quality of leads that are coming in from your OA. For example, if I'm doing software, okay, which is tactical, and you run different things, now it's hard to say what's going to come, because with tactical, there could be one particular website might not have such a good match. So your list, you might reject you might reject even 50 or 60% of the products. Now, when it comes to your VA, over a period of time, you might have trained a VA who you keep giving feedback to. And when they give you 10 leads, sometimes at least 70% of them might be good because it's your personal VA who you have trained over a period of 3 or 4 months, and they kind of know that what is expected of them. And eventually your VA will become someone that have a high quality VA, and you can have a high rate of getting good leads from them.
I think that's a good answer. Good stuff. Let us know if you understood that question there, or that answer there, Minnie. But we're going to keep going and rolling through these slides. I think we're good to go to the next one, huh? Yep.
Yeah, that's it. So this is the final slide about how we're going to help you work through your OA in Q1. So Paul, if you want to go ahead and kind of wrap it up.
Yeah, so we have an opportunity for those of you watching. If online arbitrage is of interest to you, obviously would be if you sign up for this. What Santosh and I are doing is we are running a Facebook group for all of Q1. And so that is, from right now until the end of March, and it's probably going to go on a little bit into April. But what we're doing is we're going to be teaching you the same thing that we are doing on a daily basis. Not only us, but we also have a team of people that are helping us find leads and share leads with you. So the first thing that I'll mention is that we're going to be providing over at least, if definitely more than likely, more than 200 leads a month directly to your email, and we're also posting them on the Facebook group. So we are providing those leads to you. So it's kind of like a buying list in essence, except in addition to the buying list, we are also providing a lot of education and content showing you, again, the systems that we're doing. There's already a bunch of content in the group, lots of questions that have been answered. But again, the Google Sheet system that Santosh mentioned earlier, that is through Azon Tracker Pro, which you get free for the 3 months of while you're in the group. Again, it's a phenomenal tool if you're doing a lot of OA or wholesale or even private label. The tool is pretty versatile, specifically for our purposes in this group, OA. It's extremely it's a huge time saver. And then we're going to be talking about tracking your inventory, organizing your purchases, your buy list, all the stuff that we spoke about in this webinar. We're going to be digging really deep into those things. Also going to be talking about hiring VAs, and really, if you've never hired a VA before, how to kind of get over that fear of doing that. Where do you go? Like, we use onlinejobs.ph to hire most of our VAs. It's like a quick tip with online jobs would be they've got 2 different subscriptions. I always suggest the higher subscription, but after you hire a virtual assistant or multiple and you don't need to hire any more, then you just turn that subscription off. You don't have to keep it on. But onlinejobs.ph is one of my favorites. How to communicate with them, how to securely give them information, your tools, if you have tactical arbitrage, or if you have other Chrome extensions that you want to give them access to, how do you do that? And make sure that they don't give it all their friends, or that kind of stuff. So there are ways to protect yourselves against that. And then again, systems, I'm kind of, I don't want to reiterate all those things again, but that is a huge thing that we discuss. If you join the group, more than likely, we're assuming that you've been selling on Amazon for a little while. So we will discuss how to read keep a chart and those types of things, but we're going to be doing more advanced type strategies. So like when you get your list, how do you run through that list of product and then also go and find more product? So again, the example would be you get a shoe on a list and you get the black variety that is a size 10. Well, is there a wide variety, or is it, how do you find quickly which varieties are out of stock? All that kind of stuff. I will clarify though, the list that we are sending is majority at the moment shoes and clothing. So things like Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, we do send those types of things in the list. That's not all we send, but that is a huge part of what we do. And the reasoning for that is the amount of competition is a lot less on those things. But we are also sending things from your basic stores like Walmart, Target, Kmart.com, those types of things. So we are sending more and more. toy, home and kitchen, beauty, those types of leads. So that is what is in our group. We do have openings right now. There is a max of 50 people to receive a list. We don't foresee hitting that max, at least per list. Well, if the closer we get to that, the more we're going to increase our lead production, so that you don't feel as though there's oversaturation there. But again, yeah, that's what's in the group. Santosh, did I leave anything out there that you want to mention?
No, that's most of it. We're going to go a little bit into different softwares, to touch on different things, including basics of TA and some of the stuff that how do you kind of do bulk shipments or anything else that kind of make things a lot more easier. So we're going to touch upon all that and just share everything. We're going to share everything that I've done in my business, and we have two other very great good sellers in our team as well. We're going to be sharing strategies as far as how we're going to help scale away. So yeah.
So the one way that you can look at this is it's also basically like group coaching, I would say, where for the next 3 months it's going to be almost like an online arbitrage boot camp, if you'd like to call it that, where we're going to be really digging in, answering all of your questions, not just online arbitrage. If you have basic Amazon questions and things like that, how to do certain things, we're going to be answering all of that. And John Paul just posted the link there to go find out more. So if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out. But that is pretty much it. Unless there's more questions along the way, please go ahead and post some questions now if you have any. John Paul,
if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments there, and guys can field them right now. So anybody have a question?
Not, that just means we did an awesome job.
Anybody?
And again, if you have any questions, even if if this group is for you or not, if you still have some question on any tool we mentioned here, like any concept, feel free to reach out to John Paul, and we'll be happy to get back in touch with you if you have some questions that as far as any of the things we discussed today.
I'm gonna post, that is our email. If you have any questions, you can send them there. All right, thank you, Minnie. Thanks everybody for being here. And we will be sending out the replay here shortly, if you have any questions at all. So unless John Paul or Santosh, if you have anything, just go ahead. Otherwise, we will end our meeting.
No, I think that's about it.
Okay. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks for everybody showing up. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.